tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it from the mountaintop. Thank you for sending Jesus. He was born for all the world. You gave us so much love, and I'm telling all the world. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it from the mountaintop. The night Jesus came started like a silent night. The shepherds looked up and saw the brightest light. And then what happened was a bigger surprise. They looked up and saw the angels in the sky. I can't keep it inside, I've gotta tell it. Go tell it. Jesus, you are alive, I've gotta tell it. Go tell it. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it from the mountaintop. Go, 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 tell it. 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 Let's give it a try. Go tell it. Let's give it a try. Go tell it. I'm telling everyone, everywhere he's alive. Just like the angels singing in the sky. I can't keep it inside, I've gotta tell it. Go tell it. Jesus, you are alive, I've gotta tell it. Go tell it. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it from the mountaintop. Go, 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 tell it. 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 Thank you for sending Jesus. He was born for all the world. You gave us so much love, and I'm telling all the world.
Hey everybody, I am so excited because it's December and that means Christmas is right around the corner. In fact, that's what we're going to be talking about all month. Christmas. I just love Christmas. Don't you, Hannah?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Christmas is the best because there's fun, there's music, there's lots of decorations, there's candy canes, there's hot summer weather and presents.
It's pretty cool. The reason we give presents on Christmas is because we remember how God gave us the greatest gift ever by sending Jesus to be our Savior.
Christmas is about celebrating Jesus, God's greatest gift. When Jesus was born over 2,000 years ago, he was and is the greatest gift the world has ever known. Jesus came to be our Savior.
That's so true. Christmas is such a special time of year and we are so excited to get to share a small part of it with you guys. And to celebrate, how about we play a game?
Yes, let's play a game. I love getting presents on Christmas and I love giving them as well. So we're going to play a game that has a lot to do with presents today. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to grab a piece of paper and some pens and a bowl. So we're going to give you 1 minute to do that with the list of things you need on the screen. Are you guys ready? Go! All right, guys, have you got everything you need? All right, now with your piece of paper, we want you to rip it up into lots of little pieces so that each family member gets 2 pieces of paper. You guys can do this now. And when each person has their paper, we want you to all write down 2 things that you really want for Christmas. You're going to fold up the piece of paper and you're going to put it in your bowl. And when we play our game, one person will draw a piece of paper out of the bowl and act out the gift, taking turns until all the pieces of paper have been used. All right, guys, before we get stuck in though, we're going to give you and the fam 1 minute to write down on your pieces of paper the things you want for Christmas. All right, are you guys ready? You've got 1 minute to do this. Let's go. All right, guys, now you should have a full bowl of presents to play your game with. You're going to have a total of 2 minutes to try to act out as many of the gifts as you can. So make sure you've got your bowl, make sure you've got your paper, and make sure you've got someone to start you guys off. Are you ready? You've got 2 minutes, guys. Let's go.
That was awesome. I wonder if you will get any of those presents this Christmas. However, the best gift that we have received was Jesus, and he is God's gift to us. Let's hear how Jesus was promised to us.
Hey everybody!
Hey, Erica.
Isaiah lived more than 700 years before Jesus. And get this, his name means the Lord saves us. Think about that. Even Isaiah's name pointed to God's plan to save the Israelites and the whole world. Isaiah was a prophet, someone who listens to God and then shares truth from God with other people. Often this is a message about events that will take place in the future.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord. He said, "Who will I send? Who will go for us?" I said, "Here I am. Send me."
Isaiah lived in Jerusalem. Though Jerusalem was still free, the northern part of Israel had been conquered by the Assyrians. With enemies closing in, Isaiah knew it was only a matter of time until the rest of the Jewish people were taken captive too. Isaiah served as an advisor to the king, but many of the messages that he shared also spoke about a time far into the future, a time when God would send someone to rescue God's people forever.
The people who are living in darkness will see a great light. They are now living in a very dark land, but a light will shine on them.
That light Isaiah was writing about wasn't an actual light. It was a person, a savior, and that savior was going to come in the most unusual, unexpected way.
A child will be born to us. A son will be given to us. He will rule over us, and he will be called Wonderful Advisor and Mighty God. He will also be called Father who lives forever and Prince who brings peace.
Isaiah wrote that a savior would come as a baby. Now, remember, this is over 700 years before Jesus was born. Let's take a look at what Isaiah said would be true of the savior God would send. Spoiler alert, we know the savior or rescuer is Jesus. Wonderful advisor. It's true, right? When we aren't sure what to do, Jesus directs and guides us. He knows exactly what we need. Even when we face the most difficult challenges, we can always trust him to lead us in the right direction. Now consider Mighty God. Jesus is stronger and more powerful than any earthly king. Just think of the amazing things that Jesus did. He made people who were blind see and healed people of all kinds of sickness. He turned one small lunch of bread and fish into a feast for thousands of people. And when he spoke to a storm, it listened and stopped right away. Father who lives forever. Jesus will live and reign forever. He was with God in the beginning, and he'll never leave us. Like a good father, he provides everything that we need. He always wants to spend time with us and delights in us, even before we do anything for him. Prince who brings peace. When people turned from God, the world was broken. When Jesus laid down his life for us and rose again, he made peace between people and God. When we believe in Jesus and follow him, our relationship with God is restored. We can have life forever with God. In the end, Jesus will bring an end to all conflict and all wars, and in Jesus, everything that is broken will be made whole. These are amazing promises! But Isaiah wasn't finished with his picture of the rescuer God was going to send.
There will be no limit to how great his authority is. The peace he brings will never end. He will rule on David's throne and over his kingdom. He will make the kingdom strong and secure. His rule will be based on what is fair and right. It will last forever. The Lord's great love will make sure that happens. He rules over all.
From the very beginning, God had a plan to rescue the Israelites, right? Even when things seemed dark and hopeless, God was making a way, not just for the Jewish people, but for all of us to be saved. And it would all depend on a tiny, helpless baby. But that's a story for next time.
Wow. Usually at Christmas time, we think about how Jesus was born in Bethlehem. But we don't always think about everything that led up to that moment. The truth is, God had a plan to save not just the Israelites, but all of us. That's what God promised through the words of the prophet Isaiah.
Hundreds of years before Jesus came, Isaiah spoke about the Savior who was to come. God was working through the words of Isaiah, and when the time was right, God's promise came true. God sent Jesus to rescue us.
And God is always at work, even when we can't see it. God always has a plan. So when things don't make sense and you're not sure of what to do, never forget that God has a plan. Remember that you can trust God no matter what. And remember that Jesus is always with you. He is your wonderful advisor and your mighty God. He is the Father who lives forever and the Prince of Peace.
Our memory verse for this month is about the real meaning of Christmas. This is why we celebrate, because God sent Jesus, the Saviour, to us. This is what the angel said to the shepherds to announce the birth of Jesus. Our memory verse says, "Today in the town of David, a Saviour has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord."
I just love that verse. And why don't we hear what our family question for today is? What are your plans for Christmas? As you think about your plans, how does that help remind you of what God had planned for that very first Christmas too? How can remembering God's plan for the world give you hope to face situations in your own life? Now, if you're not sure how you might answer some of those questions, don't worry. We would love for you to grab someone a little bit older to talk about this with. Ask them to answer the questions too, and they can help you to answer them as well.
Once you have done that, head over to our Kidspace Facebook page for another episode of The So-and-So Show.
Bye!
I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it. Tell it from the mountaintop. I will go and tell it, I will go and tell it.